Among all of the new and shiny things to have come to the game in the Arsenal update, we also had a ton of changes come as far as just general balance was concerned. One of the biggest changes of note was Nanoweave Armor and what exactly it does in the game. G'day there once again viewers, your mate Kamikaze78 here, and today I want to put the spotlight on the Nanoweave Armor change that came to the game recently and talk about what the flow-on effects are and what I think the next steps are for this suit slot. So out of the gate, for those who have been out of the loop lately, here's how Nanoweave Armor was changed with the Arsenal update. Nanoweave Armor at level 1 unlocked prior to this update provided a 20% damage reduction against small arms body shot damage of all kinds, that being all handheld infantry weapons barring a couple of exceptions, and that was at the cost of a 10% movement speed nerf whenever you equipped it. You essentially made yourself a tanky individual at the cost of mobility, and the last time we covered Nanoweave Armor on the channel about a year ago, the movement speed nerf wasn't even in effect yet. You just outright gained the resistance buff at no cost. As of this update, Nanoweave's 20% damage reduction to small arms fire and 10% reduction to movement speed has been stripped completely and has been replaced with a 20% reduction to sniper rifle body damage only. For those wondering, all of the effects that Nanoweave provides from level 2 to 5 still remain as is prior to the update. But the change that did come is a pretty major rework that narrows the scope of Nanoweave Armor down by a considerable margin, which to me is a great step in the right direction. As we discussed in that aforementioned video which aired about a year ago now, the suit slot in its old form had adverse effects on the game that created an inconsistent experience. Most weapon damage profiles required an additional 2 body shots to kill a target at all ranges. The effective headshot multiplier on Nanoweave Armor targets became at 2.5 times, creating an excessively high headshot reward, and longer range engagements were incredibly tedious to actually get done. It also created just a general meta that demanded that you use Nanoweave Armor at all times, otherwise you'd be at a distinct disadvantage against targets who were wearing it. And because you had no way to tell visually who was and wasn't wearing Nanoweave Armor, it was a pretty intrusive suit slot that was the be-all end-all for quite a long time. It just elongated the core time to kill of the game where it didn't need to be. I keep saying this and I'll say it again. PlanetSide 2 has a very long time to kill when you compare it against other first-person shooter games out there. Even without Nanoweave Armor in the mix here at all, only the most potent weapons in the game sit below a 0.5 second time to kill with perfect body shot accuracy. The time to kill of the game didn't need to be artificially lengthened via a suit slot like so. The baseline time to kill already allowed for good amounts of counterplay as it was. I'm all for slightly longer time to kills that allow for good positioning, reactions, and superior aim to net you the win even if you aren't the first person to have fired a shot, but there's a point where it ends up being excessive. And an effective time to kill that stretches out to 0.7 seconds in the best case scenario for some weapons while Nanoweave Armor is in effect is by definition excessive. And now that Nanoweave's scope of impact has been truly dialed in, I have to say that the general feel and consistency of infantry combat in the game, especially with automatic weapons, has taken a turn for the better. Like, if I take shots at someone who's at an extended distance where the bullets to kill is already lower due to damage drop-off, it actually feels like my bullets are doing something for one, but even in close quarters combat, the, let's be honest, effective removal of Nanoweave Armor from the game, it just feels a touch snappier when it comes to actually engaging enemy infantry. While I'm someone who tries to go for headshots all the time, I'll admit I'm not the cleanest shot out there, and I'm someone who ends up hitting body shots more often than I'd like at times. The consistency of those body shots, and actually making the game feel responsive in those situations, has been a welcome change. Headshots still feel rewarding as well if you're someone who can go for those headshots. The core 2 times headshot multiplier is still more than enough incentive to change the tide of an engagement if you can dome heads, and the Nanoweave Armor change hasn't taken away from that. So yeah, I'd say that overall, the game has felt a lot more responsive to play with the Nanoweave change in the grand scheme of things. But as I alluded to at the start of the video, I don't think we're done with Nanoweave Armor. The change has been a great reset for the suit slot and a great form of normalization to the core gunplay of the game, even though now Nanoweave Armor in its current form kind of seems a bit like a waste of a suit slot for a lot of players. However, either due to the Nanoweave Armor nerf itself or due to other changes that are made within the Arsenal update, there have been some weapon archetypes that have seen a bit of a power creep and have become a little bit more obnoxious to deal with in-game as of late. I think the biggest offender here is shotguns. Allow me to explain. Shotguns are conceptually a weapon I don't have a problem with being in games. I know they automatically get a lot of hate for being low skill options, and you can make some arguments for that in relation to the amount of precision they need to score a kill at times. However, to use a shotgun, there's admittedly an element of skill that comes from understanding the map and making use of cover and movement to get into the effective range of a shotgun in the first place, so on and so forth. And I'll admit, as a new conglomerate main, it would be hypocritical of me if I didn't admit to how much I enjoy using shotguns on the odd occasion. I know I'm a bad person, come at me. But in PlanetSide 2, the problem with shotguns and how they're implemented right now is that there is such a wide discrepancy in the time to kill between that of an automatic weapon in this game and that of a shotgun. Now, of course, this exists in every first-person shooter game where you have one-hit kill weapons like shotguns go against automatic weapons. But in PlanetSide, where the effective time to kill is already pretty lengthy when you compare it against other shooters out there, it feels a bit hopeless fighting against them at times at the moment. Throw in the fact that shotguns have become more consistent to use after their respective changes in the Arsenal update, and you've got a pretty major buff to their overall aggregate effectiveness. Your Gen 1 pump action shotguns right now, those being the Claw, Phobos, and Uppercut, can consistently being the key word here, one-shot a player within 8 meters, assuming all pellets hit. And that's of course not taking into consideration headshots, which can also happen with a few pellets if you aim for the upper chest area of a target. Gen 2 pump-action shotguns reach out to an 11-meter distance for a one-shot kill as well. And while that might not seem like a lot of distance, you can see in the footage here that that is actually a solid distance, which has made it pretty difficult, if not impossible, to effectively counterplay against a shotgun user in 99% of the engagement environment you're going to face in PlanetSide 2, especially if you're, actually playing on capture points and within buildings. Shotguns becoming more consistent I don't necessarily have a problem with. There's been a lot of situations in the past where I've been using a pump action shotgun at point blank, I blast someone in the chest and they don't die. So increasing their consistency in those environments, I have no issue with at all. It's just that when you combine all factors of this update, we've seen shotguns extend their effective range out to a bit too lengthy of a distance in my opinion. So it got me thinking, what happens if you apply a damage reduction to shotguns as a part of the new scope of Nanoweave armor? So I decided to run some numbers and this is what I came out with. If you were to apply a 15% damage reduction to shotgun damage with Nanoweave armor, you'll see the Gen 1 shotguns in question still be able to confidently kill a target at 5 meters with all pellets hitting, which is their maximum damage range, but the effective one-shot kill can extend out to 6 meters if you really manage to score a good hit. For your Gen 2 pump-action shotguns with the same damage modifier, we see the effective one-shot kill move to 10 meters if all pellets hit. The 8-meter maximum damage once again still gets the job done more than confidently so. If we were to bump up that damage mitigation to 20%, which is what is currently placed on sniper rifles, then we would see the Gen 1 pump-action shotguns move down to a 5-meter one-shot kill. And admittedly, that's the best case scenario as well, with one pellet missing, resulting in a no-kill outcome. For Gen 2 pump-action shotguns, that one-shot kill moves down to a 9-meter effective range. And just for argument's sake, the default semi-automatic shotguns become a 3-shot kill under the prospect of a 20% damage reduction at all times, but maintain a 2-shot kill under the 15% damage reduction. The range in which this can occur is just reduced a little bit. The 15% damage reduction as a whole reels in the effective range by a smidge, and even within maximum damage ranges, it places more of an onus on the shotgun user to be a bit more precise in their aim to score the best possible outcome, which I don't necessarily think is such a bad approach. If you're going to use a one-shot kill weapon, especially in the weapon time to kill ecosystem of PlanetSide 2, it shouldn't necessarily be stupidly easy to pull off. There should be some requirement for you to be precise in your aim. I don't necessarily think it's such a big ask. It keeps shotguns still capable of performing their role in their intended range, but it means you should have to work to make them work. I will admit, I think a 20% damage reduction might be a bit excessive, considering how the Gen 1 pump-action shotguns require perfect circumstances to complete their role at 5 meters. So the 15% reduction might act as a solid middle ground for now. Overall, when you look at the numbers, I think giving Nanoweave armor a 15% damage reduction to shotguns would ensure that yes, under the right circumstances, a player would still be blasted by one of these things, assuming the person using the shotgun engages some degree of crosshair placement, but it also gives players who want to enforce a slightly stronger need to aim on players running shotguns a means to do so. And it also means adding a bit back to Nanoweave armor whilst not making it the dominant powerhouse it used to be. I'll be honest, I don't have a single loadout at the moment running Nanoweave armor because, well, there's just not a lot of situations where a 20% damage reduction to sniper rifle body shot damage actually matters. And I think with the new consistency shotguns have found themselves in now, I don't necessarily think this is such an out-of-pocket idea to help balance out the impact of shotguns in the game as it stands right now. Overall, Nanoweave's impact on the game now, or should I say the lacking impact on the game right now, is a lot healthier for the game in the long run, but I still think there's ways to go in making the suit slot useful but not intrusive. I think this is a great first step. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below, guys. I'd love to hear what everyone has to say about Nanoweave armor as it stands right now. What are your thoughts? Do you think it's still intrusive for whatever reason, or do you think it's in a great spot right now, or do you think it needs something more to be useful once again? As always, if you enjoyed the content, be sure to back in the like button. It goes a long way in supporting the channel. And if you're new here, consider backing in the subscribe button, guys. Also, it goes a long way in helping us out in growing. And, well, it keeps you guys up to date as to whenever we go live and, well, when new videos come out as well. As always, guys, my social media links are also linked in the description down below. Once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Take care, guys. Have a good one.